You are now with the Agazian Media Podcast. For over 3 decades, the Eritrea-Ethiopia conflict has been widely misunderstood. It was never truly about Bademe, Assab, or access to the Red Sea. The real story is far deeper: the Eritrean dictator's relentless war on Ethiopia's federal system, his obsession with dismantling Ethiopia's ethnic-based federation, and his ongoing interference in the country's internal affairs is what continues to threaten peace and stability across the region. In the following op-ed, we explore the real roots of this conflict. Beyond Assab, the real root of the Ethiopia-Eritrea conflict. For over 3 decades, the conflict between Eritrea and Ethiopia has never truly been about Bademe or Assab, not the border, nor access to the Red Sea. The real fault line lies in Ethiopia's 1994 language and ethnic-based federal system, introduced by the TPLF, and the Eritrean dictator's fierce opposition to it, coupled with his persistent interference in Ethiopia's internal affairs. In 1991, both Tigrinya-led liberation fronts, the EPLF under Isaias Afwerki and the TPLF under the late Meles Zenawi, established governments in Asmara and Addis Ababa, respectively, ending a century-old Amhara nation-building process in Ethiopia. In 1994, the TPLF formed a ruling coalition, the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, EPRDF, and established language and ethnic-based federalism, guaranteeing Ethiopia's diversity and regional aspirations for self-determination. The Eritrean paranoid, narcissistic, and psychopathic dictator, Isaias Afwerki's hostility toward Ethiopia's federal order and diversity has since become the driving force behind his interference in Ethiopia's internal affairs and his ongoing confrontation with successive Ethiopian governments, including PM Abiy. In numerous interviews, he has openly dismissed Ethiopia's 1994 constitution, declaring, not just Article 39, but the whole spirit of the constitution is not one that you would crave for nation building. In my reading, it is not good for the people of Ethiopia or any other people. His opposition goes beyond rhetoric. He openly justifies interference in Ethiopia's internal affairs, stating, "We can't say Ethiopia's domestic affairs are their own. What we saw during the past 60 or 80 years over 3 generations is that our affairs are directly related to the situation in Ethiopia. We can live in peace, brotherhood, collaboration, and respect with Ethiopians. But, first, the stability of Ethiopia needs to be determined." These statements reveal a deeper truth. Under the Eritrean dictator, Eritrea's economy, development, and its citizens' welfare are entirely subordinated to his obsession with dismantling Ethiopia's highly popular constitution and interfering in Ethiopia's internal affairs, a profoundly dangerous pursuit. This was the cause of the 1998-2000 war between the two countries, under the pretext of a border dispute. The Eritrean dictator hoped the war would remove the TPLF minority from power. The TPLF survived, benefited from rapid economic growth and low-cost Chinese borrowing supported by U.S. and European aid. The no-war, no-peace stalemate continued until 2018. The Eritrean dictator armed and trained the Amhara and Oromo opposition to destabilize Ethiopia. However, in 2018, it was the mass protests against land policies in Oromia and the TPLF's disregard for upholding the federal constitution by the Kiru youth movement that forced the TPLF from power. Abiy Ahmed, representing the Oromo majority, became prime minister. The Eritrean dictator, misled by Abiy's rhetoric of Bademe, unity, and his alignment with the exiled Ethiopian opposition groups hosted in Eritrea, including Ginbot 7 leaders Andargachu Sige and Birhanu Nega, believed Abiy would finally dismantle the federal constitution. He accepted Abiy's call for peace. For the first 2 years, the Eritrean dictator and Abiy shared a common enemy, the TPLF. For the dictator, the TPLF were the original sinners, the creators of the constitution. For Abiy, they were a political threat that refused to accept his leadership. In November 2020, the TPLF's preemptive attack gave Isaias and Abiy together with the Amhara militia to crush them. However, once the TPLF was defeated, the alliance quickly unraveled. Abiy has neither the legitimacy nor the interest to dismantle the constitution. He became even more faithful to it, expanding Ethiopia's federal structure by creating additional regional states, including the Sidama region and the other three. To the dictator, this was a betrayal. Abiy had not only failed to dismantle the federal system, but had strengthened it. The Eritrean dictator turned back to his allies, the Amhara, who opposed the TPLF then and now oppose Abiy. He also reconnected with factions of the TPLF opposed to Abiy, as well as other insurgent groups, including the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA, and armed factions in Afar. The dictator is supporting, arming, and training them, all with one goal of overthrowing Abiy Ahmed and dismantling Ethiopia's federal constitution. Yet the irony is that even if Abiy were overthrown, the groups he is supporting share neither his ideology nor a unified political vision. His aim is chaos, not constructive governance. More importantly, dismantling Ethiopia's federal system is virtually impossible. It enjoys deep popular support across Tigray, Somali, Afar, Gambela, and the southern regions. Despite this, the dictator will never cease interfering in Ethiopia's internal affairs, driven by his enduring ambition to impose the Amhara-dominated unitary state envisioned by his forefathers. Thus, the real conflict between Eritrea and Ethiopia has never been about borders or access to the Red Sea. When the Red Sea was not an issue, as Meles infamously mocked, "Water your Red Sea for your camels," the Eritrean dictator seized on Bademe as a pretext. Today, when PM Abiy moved to demarcate the border, even offering Tigray territory, the focus shifted, and Assab on the Red Sea suddenly became the flashpoint. It could not be clearer. At the heart of the conflict lie fundamentally irreconcilable realities: the Eritrean dictatorship and Ethiopia's federalism. One cannot coexist with the other. For the stability of Ethiopia and the wider region, the Eritrean dictator must be removed from power. The international community, including the United States, the African Union, and the European Union, must acknowledge this reality and act decisively.